let's go over some key changes at a glance. First, there's bonus depreciation. It remains at 100% permanently to qualifying new and used property acquired and placed in service after January 19th of last year. R&D expensing allows immediate expensing, which means deduction the same year for domestic R&E costs, reversing the Tax Cut and Job Act's 5-year amortization rule. However, foreign R&E expenses remain subject to 15-year amortization. Now, normally when you do a large expenditure, building a factory, front-loading research, etc., you get to write off a portion of that investment over a number of years. This allows a lot of these write-offs to happen all in 1 year. So getting to write off more of it up front saves tax dollars sooner, which can be reinvested in the business, used maybe to hire more people, build more factories, etc. Businesses can still fully deduct qualifying new and used property in the first year using the 100% bonus depreciation. Energy efficient buildings. Energy efficient commercial building deduction ends for construction starting after June 30th of 2026. Under the previous law, it was up to $5.81 per square foot benefit. The efficient home credit, same deadline. It ends for homes acquired after June 30th. Before, you had up to $5,000 per unit. The SALT deduction cap, okay, in 2025, this was $10,000. Now it's $40,000 for most itemizers. It phases out for the higher earners, starting to reduce by 30% for modified adjusted gross incomes over $505,000 and reverting to the original $10,000 limit in 2030 unless Congress can fix that. Section 179 expensing allows a maximum deduction of $2.56 million, phasing out as total equipment purchases exceed $4.09 million. Pass-through entity tax allows eligible partnerships and S-corps to pay state income tax at the entity level, deducting it fully for federal purposes and bypassing the $10,000 SALT deduction cap. The 199A deduction, this is also known as the QBI. So 20% deduction remains permanent. The interest deduction. Now, this is an interest deduction limit that remains based on the EBITDA-based calculation. What EBITDA stands for is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. The clean energy credits ends for solar and wind projects starting 12 plus months past post enactment and placed in service after 2027. Yeah, as I was mentioning before, the 199A deduction is also referred to as the qualified business income deduction. It allows eligible self-employed individuals and pass-through entity owners like partnerships and S-corps to deduct up to 20% of their qualified business income, REIT dividends, or PTP income. Okay, advanced manufacturing credits. Construction of eligible facilities must begin by December 31st of 2026 to qualify. Our credit rate currently 25% of qualified investment, but a proposed Senate bill might increase it to 30%. The previous law is a 35% credit for semiconductor and semiconductor equipment manufacturing facilities. Estate tax exemption, $15 million per person or $30 million married. Under the previous law is only $13.99 million. Standard deduction increases to $32,200 for married filing jointly, $16,100 for single and married filing separately, and $24,150 for head of household. Child tax credit went up to $2,200 per qualifying child, with up to $1,700 of it being refundable. Tax-free tips and overtime. Now this one's a little bit complicated. So it's up to $25,000 in tips and the half of time and a half. So if you're getting paid $20 an hour and your time and a half is $30 an hour, that $10 is tax-free. Up to $12,500 for singles, and $25,000 for joint filers. Phasing out for single filers earning over 150 in MAGI, that's modified adjusted gross income, and $300,000 for joint filers. And we talked about what the extra half is. Auto loan interest deduction, up to $10,000 of interest paid annually, reducing taxable income for loans signed after December 31st of 2024. This deduction phases out for MAGIs over 100,000 for single or 200,000 joint. Keep in mind that the automobile being financed must be built in America to qualify for that deduction. The adoption credit, $17,670 per child, with up to $5,120 of that amount being refundable. Begins to phase out if your MAGI is over 265,080 and completely phased out at 305. Senior deduction, up to $6,000 per qualifying individual that is 65 or older. Phase out begins at 75,000 for MAGI single and 150,000 for MAGI joint. Full phase out at 175 for single and 250,000 for joint. Basically, it's reduced by 6 cents for every dollar over the threshold. Under the previous law, you only got $1,600. 1099K reporting thresholds. Used to be, if you were using third-party networks like Venmo and PayPal, you could be generating a 1099K. The previous laws of $2,500 triggered it. Under the new law, over $20,000 and more than 200 transactions, any amount, even $1 over, can trigger the 1099K. So, once you graduate, be it from welding school, engineering school, or law school, or any other school, you're going to need a different plan for each of these stages that's tailored to your individual situation during your working years. Most important question in my mind is, am I saving enough and is it in the right place? Glide path to retirement, which I've labeled arbitrarily as the last 10 years prior to retirement. Will the USS retirement be shipshape on the appointed day? And retirement. How do I avoid running out of money before I run out of life? And finally, legacy. Does what I worked hard for all my life get to where I want it to do after I'm done with retirement? Can be reached at herwirefinancial.com. I do in-person Zoom and phone appointments. I am licensed and registered across several states and can easily add states if there's a need. If you want to schedule an appointment, you can click on the Schedule an Appointment button in the upper right-hand corner of my website. Want to see more videos like this? Go to my YouTube channel. You can click on the red button in the middle there. Well, not on the middle. It's between the Facebook and the LinkedIn pages. And please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. For those who prefer the good old-fashioned telephone, 518-631-2569. Caution, do not text that number. We'll both be sad because I won't get it. Opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance reference is historical. No guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested in directly. All data is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no representation is made as to its completeness or accuracy. None of this is to be construed as tax or legal advice. Consult your advisor prior to taking any action. This information is intended to be educational, is not tailored to the investment needs of any specific investor. All investing involves risk, including the loss of principal. No strategy assures success or protects against loss. There is no guarantee that a diversified portfolio will enhance overall returns or outperform a non-diversified portfolio. Diversification does not protect against market risk.